they do to people, and talk a little bit about the dumping that they do.
Sure. I mean,
And just in case people don't realize how fascist the system has become.
One of our columnists from Poor Magazine, we do a column called Illin' and Chillin' by Leroy Moore, who's a great scholar on race and disability, right? So he did a whole series on the hospital dumping. I'd urge people to check out some of his coverage of that. But essentially, it does specifically occur to quote-unquote indigent recipients of indigent health care, which is we call poor people health care, or HELLTH care. We did our volume 2 of Poor Magazine on that issue.
Right.
Basically, what the really frightening part is that the way that healthcare system's already set up, as we all know, that it completely is in a horrible corporate system that messes you up if you don't have the money for resources. But specifically for folks who are houseless, one of our poet laureate, A. Faye Hicks, an elder, was on the street and she got pneumonia. And when she was brought in, because of the time limit that they give you to be hospitalized, if you're on either Medi-Cal or nothing, which is the case of a lot of poor folk, as myself was, I was on county aid or nothing for years before I had my son, and so I was on what I call poor people health care. But anyway, they pushed her out of the hospital in 12 hours. Well, everyone knows if you've got pneumonia or an elder, there's absolutely no way that you could be on the street, right? So she got it again. And then she got it again. And she went in, and twice they dumped her back out, and to the point where she ended up in a coma because of being discharged.
Right.
So anyway, eventually we fought it, but there's several people who have been documented, especially in the LA area right now, who are literally thrown out on the street in like 12 to 24 hours with this impunity. With you're trash anyway. I
know, it's amazing.
Yeah.
It's amazing what they get away with. But that's what happens when you have a medical system for profit.
Thank you.
And I think that medical care, by the way, should be a vital service, and certainly should not be an industry, a profit-making industry. But in any case, I want to move on and open our live line and invite our audience to call in with any questions they might have. Our number is 415-621-4473, 621-4473 if you have any questions of Tiny or Bob. And let's talk a little bit about the mean cities. San Francisco made the top 10. LA came in first in meanness with regard to houseless folks. Okay? Talk a little bit about that, Bob.
Well, I think Mayor Newsom tried very hard, and he succeeded in bringing San Francisco into the top 10, of meanest cities against homeless people in the country.
Number 7, right?
Number 7. It's number 7. It used to be number 11 back in
we've moved
in 06,
on up.
and now we're moving on up in a very bad way.
And we just happen to be about the richest, one of the top richest cities in the world.
Which is a remarkable coincidence.
Which is really amazing, isn't it?
The city's done a number of things over the past, 3 years that really stand out as making us kind of merit, the ranking that we've got. We now have DAs in traffic court prosecuting infractions that homeless people commit, but not prosecuting infractions committed by people with housing. So there's targeted prosecution. And for a long time, we've had targeted law enforcement. The prosecution is something that's new within the past year and a half. We have a court in the Tenderloin, which is specifically targeting homeless people.
Yes, let's talk about that one.
Sure. Its official name is the Community Justice Center, CJC.
Community Injustice Center, no doubt.
Yeah, whose community?
It's AKA the Poverty Court.
The Tenderloin Poverty Court. About 2/3 of defendants there are homeless, and 1/3 of them are sent there exclusively for being homeless. There's no other charge. It's just sleeping outside.
Yes.
It's one of those fake friendly forms of meanness. The idea is that supposedly people commit these crimes, which are making the Tenderloin a horrible place to live, because they have some kind of behavioral health problem,
right.
Rather than their status, which shouldn't be a crime in the first place,
right.
is an economic problem. The fact that we have an economic system which creates poverty.
and has no safety net and no affordable housing.
Right, when we're lighting fire to the safety net. And the CJC, one of its most offensive aspects is that it's been part of lighting fire to the safety net in San Francisco. It is sucking up funds from our public health care system that really should be going toward the services in the Tenderloin that are closing down. We've had 2 drop-in centers in the Tenderloin, Tenderloin Health Drop-In and Hospitality Houses Drop-In. Each one of them serves about 13,000 individuals a year. That's not 13,000 times that somebody goes in, but 13,000 people go in on a regular basis. One of those closed down just at the beginning of this month.
Yeah.
And the other's having a staff cut of 2 people to try to tip
At
it
a
over.
time when joblessness is increasing dramatically,
Yes.
when people are losing their homes,
Yeah.
losing their apartments, just out.
And I just wanted to also
Just
add,
SOL.
Exactly. I wanted to add a crucial part of this poverty court is something that I call criminalized service provision. A very important spike of it is what comes out of the whole, what we call nonprofit industrial complex. So this is a newer, cleaner, more user-friendly, more fakely designed form of social work. Or I have a poem called The War on the Poor is in full effect, but now the soldiers of police, politicians, and legislators creating deadly legislations and contracts. That's an example of it. We went to a meeting that the service providers had of the poverty court, and these people were talking pseudo-revolution. They were the new user-friendly criminalized service provider. And when some of us in the community were raising our hands and saying, well, what do you think then, you, the conscious provider that you're claiming to be, that the police has ratcheted up its sweeps of houseless folks in the neighborhood so that y'all have customers, so you have products? What are you going to do about that? How would that fit with your consciousness? And they're like, oh, we had no idea, and we'll get right on that. And it was just this bizarre, the good cop, bad cop, literally the ability to sort of frame this criminalization as though it's good for us. And it was frightening.
It's crazy.
It was
It's
so
crazy.
frightening.
What I was reading an article about the 10, the meanest cities, and they were saying that some 273 cities have really huge homeless populations, and they're criminalizing people by locking them up in jail. And they say that to lock somebody up in prison is, much more expensive than providing that same person with permanent housing.